Welcome to the DNVR Rockies podcast, brought to you by Strava Craft Coffee. Remember to use that promo code DNVR20 for first-time users to get 20% off, and DNVR25 for second-time users to get 25% off that entire purchase of the CBD-infused, deliciously rich, and potentially life-altering Strava Craft Coffee. I'm your host, Drew Kreisman. I'm the managing editor of DNVR Rockies, down here at the DNVR bar in studio with Michaela Perkins. Patrick Lyons will be joining us in just a little bit. He's sitting in on the post-game press conference of the first Colorado Rockies win of 2021. Shocking the world, Michaela, or at least shocking Clayton Kershaw.
I mean, do we expect anything different from Clayton Kershaw, though? It was a vintage Clayton Kershaw performance, in my opinion.
Vintage Kershaw. The Rockies walk out of there with an 8-5 victory, despite not getting a ton out of starting pitcher Germán Marquez, despite the fact that they only recorded, by my count, 2 extra base hits in the game, but still the Colorado Rockies come out there, they scrap away, they play some great defense, they manage to keep the pressure on. And the interesting thing to me, Michaela, was that the Dodgers were sloppy and kicking the ball around in wild pitches, and the Rockies looked like the more centered baseball team.
I think the Dodgers forgot spring training's over because they looked awful. I mean, wild pitches galore, 2 errors in the game that cost them a couple runs. It was a mess. They looked like a JV team out there.
It really surprised me. I mean, the Corey Seager one, the ball's right at him. That's not a difficult play to make. 2 wild pitches that led to runs immediately. You know, those are the kinds of things we're used to seeing the Rockies do in these types of games, right? But that the Rockies were just totally calm and cool and collected. You've got guys like Raimel Tapia putting together nice at-bats, taking the ball the other way, getting his RBIs where he needs to, not, coming out of his shoes and striking out in those big moments against Clayton Kershaw, while these guys are Max Muncy and Corey Seager and Cody Bellinger don't know where they're supposed to be on the bases.
I mean, the whole time that was going down, I was like, what just happened? Like, where is that going?
So we'll have to get Patrick's thoughts on this once he's able to join us as well. But let's actually start with that. I want to talk about the stuff that Chris Owings did and the end of the game with Daniel Bardin hanging on.
Gotta make it interesting.
Let's talk about the very first run of the 2021 season scored at Coors Field. What?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you honestly. I was watching that and I was like, what is going on?
I have never, I've watched a lot of baseball in my time on this planet, a lot of different leagues. I've seen guys get called out because runners crossed up on the base paths before, right? We know you can't do that. It's an automatic out. And I've seen the ball go into a player's glove, come out and go over the wall and be called a home run, right? So and they're live. To everybody, it looked like Raimel Tapia had caught the baseball. So I understand what Max Muncy is doing by turning around and running back toward first base, but that it popped out of his glove, went over the wall, and if he just hadn't done that, it would have been 2-run homer.
Right.
But they cross up and it goes out, and Bellinger is out on a single, but he gets an RBI because Muncy scored. We were all reaching for the rule book on this one.
Like I said, I watched it and then I rewatched it and I was like, how did they figure that out? Like, how did that happen? I really just, I don't understand what happened. Like it.
I'm still not sure I've ever seen anything like that. I've seen games ended because the sprinkler system came on. I've seen a lot of weird stuff in baseball games, but that was a first for me, a run taken off the board because they crossed up on the base paths and didn't know what they were doing. And
it was a first for me too.
And the odd thing was, that ended up being arguably kind of costly. They could have had a much bigger inning there. And all right, the Rockies will take it. That's not going to be a normal occurrence.
I mean, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go to the end of the game. Mac, we're watching some of these other relievers. You hold your breath when Chi-Chi goes out there for a second inning. We can talk about that in a minute. Tyler Kinley's had his issues, but you get to Daniel Bardin, you go, okay, this should maybe be the calmest part of the game, right? But didn't quite go that way. Take us through the 9th inning.
Yeah, I mean, leave it to the Rockies to make a game that I was feeling pretty good in feel not so good anymore. They had me feeling pretty nervous. I mean, those first 2 batters that Bard faced, I was I was like, oh boy, everyone, put your seatbelts on. This is going to get a little bit bumpy. But then, finally he kind of settled down and started locating those pitches. I mean, he was tossing gas. Like, he was throwing some fastballs out there. And so, I think finally after he struck out Smith is when he kind of settled down and was like, okay, like, I can do this. I can get these guys out. But the first 2 batters, I was like, oh man, my stomach dropped. I was nervous. I don't know about anyone else, but it was not a good feeling.
Yeah. Oh, a winner's it's a winner's lounge. There might not be a ton of them this year, so we'll have to take advantage. But I agree, man. Like, he comes out, he's throwing 98, 99, so you're like, hey, all right, Daniel Bard doing the thing, but the location wasn't there. He hung a couple of sliders. Muncy gets him for a triple, and you're like, hey, boy. But the one shot for me was, Mookie Betts there in the on-deck circle. He comes up with the bases loaded, and you go, this is not the situation you want to be in, coming into the inning up by a couple of runs, and now you're looking at the go-ahead run at the plate in the form of arguably the best player, certainly the defending best player in the National League.
Absolutely.
And it's like, there was a part of me that thought, this isn't going to happen. Bardo's going to leave one right over the middle of the plate. Betts is going to take him deep. And at the end of this 9th inning, the Dodgers are going to be ahead. Yeah,
when Mookie stepped up to the plate, I was watching the rest of the game like this, just with as scared as I could be, because I honestly, I want to give the Rockies credit, but I was really worried there for a second. It didn't look like it was going to end in their favor, and it was really disappointing because the game had gone so well up into that point, and I was like, please just don't let it come down to this like final at bat. It was just
right. Yes. I will.
I'll leave that to Drew.
For people who don't know, Rocky is Serbian bourbon.
Do we have? Is that the same stuff? It's Serbian. Do we have Swedish fish?
Guys, I can't do that.
Oh, it's not the same. Okay. Okay. Well, the Avs good. Well, when the Rockies win 8 in a row, maybe we can get some Swedish fish for our shots. But until then, Mac's going.
I'm scared.
She's like, let's just take this one, dude.
Is this like an initiation process? Like, do I have to do this?
Well, I mean, it is a winner's lounge tradition.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will say I was. Where was this comment from Caitlin? Said, missing the all too familiar uncertainty. There was even a part of me that as that 9th inning was unfolding was like, I even missed this.
Me too. I missed all of it. The highs, the lows, everything in between. I just miss baseball. I'm so happy it's back. I'll take what I can get at this point, honestly.
Right. Just.
We got the super chat.
We do have a super chat. We're going to have to get Adam back here to pour shots and say, Allie will be on top of it, so I'll take care of that. Matt can do what she wants. We don't do peer pressure here, but we do have fun.
I'll do it for the fans. It's my first pod, why not?
Right. So before Patrick hops on with us here in a bit, I did want to get your take on, like you were saying, the game had been going so well. How were you feeling throughout the game? There's going to be those early jitters. Dodgers got a lot of base runners those first couple innings.
Yeah.
There were some double plays. Marquez had to work out some stuff, but that the game was close and the Rockies were holding their own, and that had to have felt like, oh man, maybe this little offense here can.
Yeah. The Rockies very much feel like the little engine that could today.
There it is.
And so, it's hard not to love the little engine that could. But, I mean, I will say I was a little bit disappointed with Marquez's start. He walked a lot of batters, and he gave the Dodgers a lot of scoring chances. And thankfully, the Dodgers weren't able to capitalize. Oh, God.
Also, check out Allie's jacket.
Wait, give me the other one, Allie. I think the other one's smaller.
She goes, that's it. You're not taking that 100-mile-an-hour Daniel Bard fastball. She wants the 98-mile-an-hour Daniel Bard fastball.
Oh, God.
That jacket is amazing.
Shout out to Ryan's mom.
I hope you guys know how much I love you for doing this.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, Marquez really didn't have the best command early on, really struggling with it. I did think he was getting squeezed a bit, but also he he wasn't his best self, and he had to battle out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he really needs to kind of settle down and work on locating those pitches a little bit better. He only had 2 strikes the whole time he was out there, which is, I think, unusual for him. Like, you're very much used to seeing, Marquez strike some batters out, and only getting 2 strikeouts while he was out there for 4 innings was like really unusual. I mean, I think I wrote it down. He threw 92 pitches and only 44 of them were strikes. So
that's a terrible, terrible.
It's not
ratio.
a great outing.
I will say I had said in some of our, off-season podcasts that I thought there was a decent chance Marquez was going to be rough coming into the year. I think he'll work it out, and to be able to not get pummeled by the Dodgers when you don't have your best stuff is still the mark of a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I agree with you. It's disappointing. I was on bets earlier today, taking all the DraftKings Sportsbook stuff, and I had the over on him getting 5 or 6.5 strikeouts because he just almost always gets those numbers. But
I mean, Kershaw and him both, they're both strikeout pitchers, and I mean, the same issue with Kershaw. He barely struck anyone out either. It was a very weird performance from both starting pitchers today. Yeah,
it felt like, normally at this time pitching is ahead of hitting, but in Major League Baseball right now, it just feels like hitting in general is a little bit ahead of where the pitchers are at.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready for this?
Oh, no. I don't think I'll ever be ready. Wait, can I get a chaser? I'm scared, Ryan. Okay, wait, I have my water bottle.
All right. You got your water. Is Avalanche from Breck Brew a chaser? I think so. All right.
I'm not in college anymore. I don't know if I can do that.
I know, right? Same.
I'll be on the floor by the end
feel
of
it
this.
tomorrow.
Oh,
all right.
God. Okay.
To an opening day win.
Yay.
Oh, that wasn't so bad.
I thought maybe awful. Oh. Ew, I don't like it.
Oh, it lingers though, doesn't it?
It burns.
It burns.
Guys, I went to Arizona State. I didn't think it'd be that bad, but it's really bad.
Oh, man. That's hilarious. Well, thank you, Josh, for the super chat. We appreciate it. Woo, yeah. It's got a lingering
I'm gonna collect
effect.
myself after that one.
That's fantastic stuff. I am going to wash it down with a little bit of this Avalanche Amber Ale from Breckenridge Brew. It's damn good beer. They got damn good seltzies. You can find either one of them in 15-can sampler packs so you can find out what works best for you. Get it at a local King Soopers or down at your local liquor store. Maybe head on down here to the DNVR bar and get one in a large draft. But if you want the biggest draft you can get, you got to be a DNVR member. And now is the time. Get hyped. It's opening day. Your Colorado Rockies beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. And if you subscribe to a year of DNVR right now, we'll hook you up with a free shirt. We'll hook you up with discounts constantly on masks and hats and shirts, and you get a bigger beer when you come down to the DNVR bar. You get to hang out with us in our private Discord channel where we're talking baseball 24/7, plus all the other sports, plus whatever you're watching on TV, movies, whatever. The best thing, though, is that for the next 300 people that do sign up for the annual, we'll hook you up with a free holistic stick from our friends at Holistic Wellness. That's HOLISTIK. holisticwellness.com. Check out all of the fantastic reviews you'll find there. It's a little 10 milligram thing, a CBD for this one's for restoration. I've got relaxation ones as well. They've got all kinds of fantastic stuff for you there. You can also use the promo code DNVR30 to get 30% off. But again, becoming a member of the DNVR family is an absolute must at this time of year. The Nugs and Avs are about to go on ridiculous stretches. The Rockies are going to be more fun to watch than the vast majority of people out there think they're going to be. Now's the time to get in. Don't miss out. Get your free shirt, all your discounts, all your swag, and become a member of the family here at DNVR. All right.
Love that. Come join us. Come join the fam. We're a fun family. We're dysfunctional, but we're fun.
That's right. We are a fun, dysfunctional family. So, all right.
Can we talk about Chris Owings? I'm dying.
Let's talk about Chris Owings. I put it off as long as I can. Do we have the? I was making sure that Allie was ready to go. Our draft king of the game, your dude. You didn't actually take him in your dude
he
draft.
He was an honorable mention.
I feel like he should still get to be on your team.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Look, Chris Owings, 3 for 3, a triple, 2 singles, 2 stolen bases. It's the first time in Colorado Rockies history a batter has stolen 2 bases in an opening day game.
Let's go. Let's
go, Chris Owings.
Not only that, right? So he got the offense going with that triple
Right.
Early on. I believe it was
Yep.
third inning. And he got a go-ahead RBI after the Dodgers had come back to tie it at 4-4. He put them back on top at 5-4 after the Chichi Gonzalez situation.
Yep.
And Chris Owings made the defensive play of the game in this one as well. He was the
Oh.
offensive player of the game. That double play on the
double
dive.
play.
I know you
Oh.
know he can pick it, but that was special.
See, I've always thought of Chris Owings as a defensive player, getting to watch him play in Arizona. But tonight he was offensive too.
Right.
I was so happy with his offensive production. This should be Chris Owings Rockies win.
This is the official. Welcome into the DNVR Chris Owings post-game report. No, he was fantastic. Like you mentioned, the 2 stolen bases. I think he's underrated as an athlete.
Absolutely.
He's got above average speed. It's part of the reason why the Rockies are interested in having him out there in center field. And tip of the cap, honorable draft king of the game goes to Bud Black here because, it's an honor. I knew baseball season was back when the lineup came out and Rockies Twitter was pissed.
You were giving him some flack for not putting McMahon in.
That's right. On the drive over to the thing, I was saying, because this is a season where we want to see what the young guys can do, right? And Chris
Right.
Owings at 30 years old is a veteran who it seems like we know what he can accomplish. And this feels like it was managed like a game the Rockies are expecting to win 88 games this year. And then playing Owings, the righty against the lefty Kershaw, it was the right move to try to win the ball game.
Right.
Is it the
100%.
right move? And obviously it worked out.
Yes.
Is it the right move in the long term? Should we see more Rymack or younger guys? Is still going to be an interesting question, but you absolutely cannot question the manager for putting a guy in the lineup when he goes 3 for 3, steals a couple of bases, and is the difference in the game.
Nope. Chris Owings 100% earned his spot in the lineup tonight. And I get it. Like when you have someone like Rymack, you want to kind of avoid those lefty on lefty matchups as much as you can, especially if they struggle against lefty pitchers, which Rymack has in the past. Right. So, I was happy to see Chris Owings in the lineup today. Thankfully, he proved me right. Everybody knows he's my guy, so we're going with Chris Owings from here on out. I'm rocking with him.
We got Patrick here ready to go.
Love it. Let's
do
get our
it.
guy Patrick Lyons in and get the report from inside the Colorado Rockies clubhouse.
Good
Patrick.
game today, 8-5 victory. Can't go wrong with that.
How about that?
Oh, opening day victory.
It was great. Buddy immediately opened up talking about Chris Owings and what he was able to provide today. A career shortstop up until a couple years ago, crazy athletic, still on the younger side. Yeah, not one of the true young, inexperienced guys we think of as a future piece to the team, but he was fantastic. Proved his manager right. Going 3 for 3 was absolutely perfect. And as Buddy called him, the winning type of player. Did it all, even recorded the final out, even got the line drive for Mookie Betts.
Sure
So
did.
That's right.
probably one of the best opening day performances, you can really have outside of Tuffy Rhodes hitting 3 home runs on opening day. But we've already broken that down, haven't we?
Tuffy Rhodes and Aaron Miles. Other than that, though, it really was, Patrick. What was the sense of the offense? I mean, putting 6 runs on Kershaw, not getting any, too many extra base hits, but everybody kind of contributing, scrapping away, putting those at bats together. A guy like Garrett Hampson bringing in a run with a bunt, stuff like that. How did Buddy seem about the way the offense performed today?
Well, I think everyone except Blackman in the starting lineup was able to get a hit. So it definitely was this team effort, a Coors Field grinder, as he called it, and was quick to praise, Tapia, because he's, he didn't use the term pull happy, but he's been pulling the ball a lot more. I think finding that power stroke, and we saw it twice. Once when he had a ground out to second base to score a run,
Right.
and then he was able to go the other way in the 6th inning to put them ahead 6-4. And really, that was the tone of the entire game, is just putting the ball in play. I think through the close to 6 innings that Kershaw pitched, he only had 2 strikeouts. So it was really all about putting the ball in play. Even the triple that Owings had about a 2% likelihood of being a hit. It was just kind of where Betts was playing. He couldn't get back on the ball. Should have been an out. As it were, it was a triple. That's what happens when you put the ball in play, when you don't strike out. We saw that far too often in 2020, and the fact that the Rockies didn't do that quite as much really was a major difference in this game at various points.
100%. One of the guys who did that incredibly well today is, and I hate to admit it, but your dudes had a great day. Chris Owings, great day. Your dude, Josh Fuentes, put the ball in play. Talk about hitting it where they ain't. That first RBI that he had early on, I believe it was in the third inning, they had shifted him over there. He still managed to hit it between, I believe, 5 infielders were diving for that baseball. But how about you do Josh Fuentes today?
Yeah, he did the same thing. I think that was in the 6th, where ground ball that Corey Seager should have, played rather easily, but he erred on it, and the run scored. And that was, a key difference throughout all of it. Even as you said with Garrett Hampson laying down a sacrifice bunt, that's fantastic. Chichi Gonzalez was later left in the game, who came laid down a fantastic sacrifice bunt that moved the runners over, and it was just like all of those little things added up to be a really big deal. And that's one of the things Buddy said, is that the team needs to continue to keep grinding and tack on those runs, because at Coors Field, we know it can start to add up real quickly. And we saw it in the 9th. Not so much because of the large expanse of Coors Field. It wasn't a bunch of, singles that were getting dunked in and things of that nature. But nevertheless, man, it's like playing a game of pinball when it comes to Coors Field. And we saw that today. And the Rockies were the better of those two teams by a significant amount.
Pinball wizards, you could say. just checking.
She wouldn't.
I was gonna say. I just looked over.
You guys gotta stop making references I don't understand. Like we gotta make these things more
Kale
current.
knows that one, because there's a whole Broadway Tommy.
Right. The Who. You know who the Who are? You've heard of the Who. Okay.
Have you talked about the 4-base single?
What do they sing? You got to give me songs, okay, you guys? What do they sing?
Yeah, Pinball Wizard was one of the big ones, I will say.
I'm 24. What do you want from me?
Baba O'Reilly. Yeah, Allie's 26.
Oh.
That's what happens at age 25.
Can I get a song? Can you sing me something?
Baba
a couple
O'Reilly?
bars?
The opening to CSI.
Oh, who are they? Who?
Not they.
There we go. She's nailing it up in here.
Who are they?
Who are they?
Who are you?
Oh boy. Who exactly are these Colorado Rockies? Well, one person
Wasteland?
Patrick, somebody I think that we maybe expected to be pretty good today, who wasn't, oddly enough, was Arman Marquez. We were talking about it a little bit before you came on. What did Buddy have to say about that performance? I felt like it was gutsy in some ways, but also disappointing in others.
Yeah, he basically just said, obviously Marquez wasn't sharp, career high, 6 walks. So that was not good. It seemed like every runner was getting on base. 7 of the 9 innings, the leadoff hitter ended up getting on base. Dodgers left a lot of guys on base. That was that was a critical piece of what allowed the Rockies to win this ball game. But yeah, ultimately, Buddy just he kind of passed the buck in a sense to say, Herman will tell you why he wasn't sharp, but he really just didn't have it. And Chichi was in there. He battled, didn't look fantastic, but that's going to happen against that Dodgers lineup. And it was still good enough of a performance where Chichi's going to get a start next week at some point when it comes around to the point where you're going to need a 5th starter. That should be in San Francisco.
Fair enough, though. I'd be curious about Jhoulys Chacín. We've barely had a chance to talk about that. But was he asked? Because, I guess it worked out, but the second inning for Chichi really could have turned into a disaster. I was a little bit surprised. Was he asked about that, or was it sort of forgiven because, well, he did fine, I guess? Mac,
his slider was, whew.
Yeah.
That was a beauty of a pitch. I could watch him pitch a slider all day.
The slider looked great. The fastball was but
questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no harm, no foul there. So I think that's kind of the modus operandi where you let that go. But again, Buddy did make it sound like Chichi will be starting next week as opposed to Chacín. I think, again, with Jhoulys just come to the organization yesterday, I think they got to figure out what they have in him. And it might be too much to put those kind of innings on him because I don't exactly know what he was doing in camp with the Yankees. I think they had their 5 guys pretty much locked up, so he may not have gotten the innings that they would have liked normally. So certainly doesn't mean he's not the next one up should someone get hurt or should Chichi falter, because I think Chichi does a nice job out of the bullpen a decent amount of the time, so that could be a better role for him as the long reliever. But the second inning wasn't sharp, but he was able to get away with it, and the Rockies responded. The first three innings that the Dodgers scored, Rockies came back and scored as well.
Yeah, scoring right back has always been a big thing for me with that momentum. To see the Rockies do that today was pretty fascinating. A mental part of the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you never want to be in a position where you just feel defeated because you're down so many runs. You feel like you have to dig your way out of a hole. Like, you never want to be in that position mentally. And, baseball is different from other sports where it's not like a battle of scoring. It's, a lot of the mental aspect and a lot of what the pitcher's doing. And so you don't ever really want to be in a position where you feel like it's going to be hard to dig yourself out of. Obviously, there are comeback situations, but it's a lot better in the long run if you can kind of keep your team in the game and keep your headspace in the right place. But I want to mention, too, I know we talked a lot about the pitching, but, on the other side of that, the catching, I thought Diaz did a great job today. He had a lot of, spiked balls, a lot of things that he had to kind of work with that, was a lot to ask of him, in my opinion. And he did a great job keeping the ball in front of him. And so I just wanted to, give some props to the catcher because I think he did a really great job today. And I didn't want to do the pod without at least giving him a little shout out because I think he did a lot.
I might have forgotten. And yeah, what did you think of that, Patrick?
Well, yeah, defense isn't necessarily his forte, but again, the Rockies are able to get a lot out of their catchers defensively. You got to think Mark Strittmatter is one of those guys that was able to do it. And if you look in comparison to what the Dodgers got out of Austin Barnes and those two wild pitches past balls that ended up producing 2 runs for the Rockies, again, by comparison, Elias Diaz is probably an overlooked piece as to why the Rockies were able to come out on top 8-5 today.
Yeah. All right. Power rank for you both. Top 3 guys, since we were just talking about it, who you'd least like to get absolutely trucked at the plate by on the Colorado. Because I feel for Austin Barnes, man. You're diving back to home plate. You're trying to make a play. You're trying not to give up another run on a wild pitch. And who's that barreling down like a freight train toward home plate? CJ Cron and his frame. And I think he might be at the top of the list. Story, I don't want to get run over by either. But
Jason Giambi, can we go too deep?
Are we going all time here? Giambi's probably an all timer. Seth Smith actually Matt Holliday. I've heard specific stories from our guy Corey Sullivan about running into Matt Holliday at full speed in the minor leagues. Bad idea.
I think Hilliard and Blackman also too have to be up there where they might not have the weight. You might not think of them as big guys, but in combination with their speed and be able to get low, I think that could pack a big punch. But Cron is probably the top dog on the team.
Yeah, I was going to say, Cron's probably my number one. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Barnes got hit in back-to-back. I'm actually wondering if it could have been a bit of a concussion because there was a bit of a play at the plate with Owings when he came in. Or no, it wasn't Owings. It was somebody else before him that had scored the first run. So it was like 1-2 right, one after another. So we hope Austin Barnes is okay. But man, that was a nice little bang up that we don't get to see very often, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, right. A little love for the
like
pro
Buster
wrestling,
Posey, which is the reason why we have this rule in the first place.
Right. We got to protect those guys at the plate. A few plays at the plate today. This game had everything. It really did. It was a great baseball game, wasn't it?
I thought, it literally, it was a great baseball game for the Rockies. The Dodgers probably don't feel that way right now, but I thought it was very much a complete game. I was impressed. I think one of the pieces I was the most confident in going into this game was the pitching, and the pitching was kind of what let me down the most.
Shaky, yeah.
So, it was kind of like a role reversal type situation where I was really scared of what they were going to do offensively, but then ended up being really impressed by what they did offensively and defensively as well. And it was the pitching that I was just kind of a little bummed by. But of course, first game of the year, you got to settle in, you got to settle down. I'm sure it's not always going to look like that, but I thought it was an awesome game all around. And the best part of it all was it was on national television, and the Rockies whooped the Dodgers on national TV.
Good revenge from last year, or 2019. It's good revenge when A-Rod came and shot all those videos with Josh Fuentes' cousin. And they got whooped, and it was like by the time the 5th inning rolled around, people were changing the station. Incidentally, I heard that the broadcast on ESPN was not very good. It was just all about the Dodgers the entire game. No surprise there.
My understanding is that it was all about the Dodgers. Secondarily to that was Coors Field and the altitude, which apparently is a news story no one's ever heard about before. So they got to fulfill the people on that.
Right, as well as the cousin of Josh Fuentes.
I was going to say, and then the third was, I'm not sure if you've heard.
Oh my God! If I had a nickel for every time I had to hear who Josh Fuentes' cousin was, I would be a very rich woman.
I'm with Patrick. From now on, we're talking about Josh Fuentes' cousin.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm done with it.
I think we need a tip jar. I think we need a jar at the studio, and anytime you say anything other than Josh Fuentes' cousin,
totally,
you need to put at least $1 in.
I like it better than
That's
he
how we
who
do
shall
it.
not be named, which I referred to him yesterday as. So it's
Totally.
Josh Fuentes' cousin.
Yeah.
There's a Voldemort thing going on there.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like that.
100%.
I heard that team did good today, but I didn't see
I
nothing.
didn't watch. I didn't care. I was too busy watching the Rockies.
Rockies were winning.
I
Hey,
don't watch Quidditch. So.
yeah, and one of the things that the Rockies did today out there, they got themselves insurance runs, despite the fact that they were going up
boy.
against Kershaw and the Los Angeles
That
Dodgers.
was a transition.
I know a few things about insurance. I'll tell you what. I learned some things from Gabby.com/DNVR, and that's what I was paying way too much for my car insurance. About $480 a year, it turned out. And I can save that money. Just took me 10 minutes. Go to GABI.com/DNVR. Get all your letters straight. I'll do it again for you. It's GABI.com/DNVR. And there, take you less than 10 minutes, put in a couple little pieces of information. They'll give you a whole bunch of options about how you can save some money, not have to spend it all on your car insurance and home insurance, or if you're like our guy Eric Weedham, your scooter insurance, whatever it is you got going on, you got to get your insurance at the cheapest possible price, and Gabby will help you do that. No obligations. It doesn't cost you anything. They're not going to blow up your phone or email with text messages or any of that nonsense. They're just going to help you pay less money. That's it. It's as simple as that. No joke. Go check them out. It's an even better deal, slightly, because it's totally free, than our friends at Hassel Cattle Company. The only difference there, you pay a little bit of money, but you get some of the best beef you've ever had in your entire life. I'm telling you, 0% negative reviews from our friends at Hassel Cattle Company. 0% negative reviews. Like the Colorado Rockies this season, Hassel Cattle Company is undefeated. They will bring you the absolute best in Wagyu beef, whether you need some burger patties, you're looking for some ground beef, some ground chuck, some beautiful steaks. That's right, steaks can be beautiful. Whatever it is, it's the best beef you've ever had in your life. I promise you. Check out all the positive reviews. Check out all of our friends on Twitter saying it's some of the best meat they've ever had. It's not going to break your bank. They take care of the animal by not feeding it all those antibiotics and hormones and all that garbage. Really is the best for you. So go there, use the promo code DNVR10 to get 10% off. If you order over $200, they'll hook you up with free shipping at Hassel Cattle Company. That's HASSELL cattlecompany.com.
Great job, Drew.
But the difference is Rockies are tied for first place. Hassel Cattle Company is
right.
number
Oh, I was literally just about to check the standings. I'd be like, oh, first in the West.
Yeah, how many people thought on April 2nd they would be not only undefeated, well, they were last year on April 2nd. They were also tied for first base. So really, we know the Rockies are early starters, though, right?
We're gonna have fun with small sample size numbers here early in the season for sure.
And the last place Dodgers as well.
Oh, I love that. Can you say that one more time?
The last place Los Angeles Dodgers.
Oh,
That's a direct report
Chef's
from
kiss.
Colorado Rockies clubhouse from beat writer Patrick Lyons. You can't get wrong about. Before we move on from any of the other stuff, is there anything else in that press conference that specifically you felt like we need to know about?
One other thing was the play that could have been what this day is most memorable for.
Yes.
And I think in a way it will be. Like there are those events where you say, oh, the such and such game, and no one remembers who won or who lost. And for good reason, this will probably be remembered as the Cody Bellinger 4-base single game. To which Bud Black just said, yeah, I've never seen anything like
He
that.
hadn't seen it. Okay. I was saying I'd
I
never
don't think
seen
anyone
it,
ever
but I'm 34. I've been watching a lot of baseball. Patrick, you've been watching a lot of baseball. But between the three of us here and Bud Black, that's about 170 years of baseball watching experience.
And about 30 years of major league playing and coaching experience between the four of us as well.
That's
Don't
right,
forget
combined.
that. Yeah, but he told his players, and they know, like, be ready. Rule number one, be ready for anything. And you absolutely had to be. And in a way, that could have been the game changer, right? That could have been the turning point of the game if that's a home run. Instead, it's this weird thing of like, all right, it was only one run. We don't know what happened. And before you know it, the Rockies are up 2-1 by the bottom of the third. And it's kind of again, no harm, no foul. They got away with one. And Tapia isn't remembered for, he should have caught it and came out of his mitt. It was just such a weird play that, again, no harm, no foul. Rockies win 8-5. Dodgers in last place.
I don't think I stopped laughing until midway through the next inning. Day one, and we've been so without baseball. And when you close your eyes and you think of the things, and, we did the video earlier today. Thank you, everyone, for the nice comments. And really romantic about the ball hit deep. No home runs today, or the ball in the gap or whatever it is. And you forget that sometimes one of the things that makes baseball is this stuff where you're just like, what in the world? Okay, so that could have been a 2-run home run. It should have probably been a 2-run home run or an out. Those were the two most likely things that either, right?
Yeah.
Tapia hangs onto that ball, and that it was a 1-run single and an out. Patrick, I want to tell my kids about this.
No, for those of you who don't know, I keep score while I watch the game. And with a pen, yeah.
And
I get called out for that.
Tell everybody. So Cody Bellinger, who hit one over the fence, but only got a single, who gets credit for that out that nobody got out?
Oh, I know this.
You know this?
I'll tell you at the end of the thing, but share your thing, and then I've got a story for everybody.
I literally was just going to say, when that happened, like, I was looking at my scorecard for a good 10 minutes, like, what do I do with that? And I literally it looks like an ink blot because I had no idea. So I just wanted to comment on the fact that I had no idea what was happening.
So as Patrick and Michaela are well aware, when there's a play where there's a little bit of a question and there needs to be a ruling by the official scorer, the official scorer will come over announce the PA system just in the press box for people in the press, and they will tell us, that was an error, or you give the guy a double, but he moved over to third on the throw or whatever. They'll tell us how to score it.
Yeah.
And the guy comes on, and the first thing we hear is, so, and actually, Patrick, the answer to your question is this, and I have no idea why. The put out on the play went to the second baseman, Chris Owings, our draft king of the game. That's when we should have known. That's when we should have known that he was going to be the player of the game for a ball hit 388 feet. He's standing on second base, but yet he gets credit for the put out. That's when we should have known. Right.
Listen, who needs Josh Fuentes' cousin when you have Chris Owings, okay?
Let's go. That to me, when they said the second baseman gets the out, I guess because he was the person closest to Bellinger when they crossed up.
It passed, yeah. And I had thought that because the ball was gone, at that point it should be a dead ball.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm still not exactly sure, but I guess even if that's true, perhaps they did pass each other before, it officially had gone over the fence. And so, that's why. But even still, if it's a dead ball,
who knows?
If you pass a guy while running the bases, even on a home run, I guess you could wipe that away.
Yeah.
Because, again, on a home run, if you miss home plate on a home run, you could still be called out. So
right.
That was a very strange one that, again, Bud Black, after seeing thousands of games, had never seen that before. And, again, on opening day, wow. Baseball's the best.
I want to see if I can find this. Somebody sent me a story about how in high school they had played a game and somebody hit what should have been a walk-off grand slam, but then whoever was the lead runner at third base stopped before touching home plate and high-fived each one of the guys as they came in. And everybody was out, and the grand slam didn't count, and they didn't win. Everyone was out. The game was over. And I felt sick to my stomach. I was just like, oh, no.
Well, I hope Belly.
How did any of those runners not notice that?
Right.
Or I don't know.
All he had to do was step on. He sent me video proof too, so I'll find it. There was
absurd.
It made the news and stuff. So, Patrick, I do want to get your thoughts on a couple of other things here, particularly the very end of the game. I've of course got to remind all of our friends though that it's if you need something checked out get on Zoom Care. You don't want to go down and sit and wait in the doctor's office. Everybody hates waiting in the doctor's office. You got to go to Zoom Care, get it all taken care of digitally. That's how we do things these days. We're living in the 2021 era. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it. You don't want to be sitting. Look, I didn't like sitting in the doctor's office before. You want to do it digitally. You check them out at zoomcare.com. That's ZOOMCARE.com. Schedule an appointment today. They're covered by most insurances. You got to do a copay usually, but it's a fantastic situation, especially for people like me that can get anxious about going down to the doctor. Check them out at zoomcare.com. And where's our last one? I was like, I've misplaced them. Oh, we got DraftKings. We know all about DraftKings. If you were following my advice about the Rockies winning today's baseball game, you might have made yourself a little bit of money. Not so much about the Germán Marquez strikeout thing or the early under, but
also,
still.
if you had number 11 UCLA over Michigan, thank you. You won some money there.
That's right. We're making you money, basically making you money all the time here on the DNVR Rockies podcast. You got to check out our DNVR Bets program. They're making you money regularly. But whether you're in it to make money or you're just in it to have a little more skin in the game and watch your make your sports watching experience that much more fun, really, it's an absolute blast just to think about it, talk about it in all these different terms. As our guy RK was saying earlier today, one of the fun things about the Rockies, taking the over on their 63.5 wins. So they win one today, and he goes, all right, baby, 63 to go, and now you've got something because, they're probably not going to make the postseason. It is whatever. But you hop on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You can bet on them to do things from game to game, and the Rockies can still win for you. It can fatten your wallet. So, for right now, they still got that basketball tournament going on. You may have heard about it before. You can turn $1 into $100 when you use promo code DNVR to sign up and just pick up a college basketball team that ends up winning a college basketball game. Seems easy enough, though it's getting down to the nitty-gritty at this point. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
My favorite thing about DraftKings Sportsbook is that even though the baseball season is so gosh darn long, you can make one of those long full season bets and they'll come back at you with a buyout and say, you know what, you don't actually have to wait for Mike Trout to hit those 41.5 home runs or whatever it may be. You're going to cash out a little bit early, so you don't have to wait 6 months to make your money on the baseball season.
All right, I know it's a baseball show, but they're offering people buyouts on Nikola Jokic right now for that MVP. I know a lot of our listeners, that was your pick of the week a while back. I know a lot of DNVR folks have got Jokic for MVP. Are you taking that buyout or are you hanging on?
No, you got to hang on.
Hang on.
No, you hold on to that because it's more about the pride. Like, even the money is nice, but like just to know that you had that at the end, even if it doesn't come to fruition. Hold it out, and it looks good right now too to begin with. So you're gonna get paid.
And they went for the buyout before Jokic was MVP favorites. Now they're regretting it.
Bad
Do we know anybody
making.
like that?
Yeah.
Andre.
Dre. Patrick, did want to ask you, Michaela and I were talking just before you came on about Daniel Bard, the ninth inning, that whole situation. Where were you at during that? Was there a part of you thinking, oh man, this is going to get away from the one part of the team that's supposed to be there? Or did you think I's got this the whole way?
I wasn't ready for anything. It was one of those because I had the recap.
Right.
And I wasn't even thinking like, oh man, if he blows this, how would I have to rewrite this, et cetera, et cetera. The whole context of everything and, the narrative of what opening day meant this year. I was like, I wasn't ready for this. The bases are loaded. Winning run is at the plate. Mookie Betts is at the plate. Oh, no. Okay. Third out. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wait for Bud Black to talk about going 1-0. So I almost didn't have enough time. I just tried to block it out a little bit. Bard, I think, likes living on the high wire a little bit. It's going to happen again. The Dodgers are that good of a team, but ultimately, no harm, no foul. I think that's the motto of the day, right? They came away with the victory. My question, I guess, to you guys is, do you like the order of the setup? Because we were hoping it was going to be Scott Oberg in the 8th. Seemed like a lock. And then you can mix and match in the 7th inning with whoever you want. Instead, it was Almonte in the 7th, Kinley in the 8th. He did give up a run. You good with that?
Yeah, Mac, what do you think of that lineup?
Yeah, I definitely love, and I wouldn't switch Almonte out of the setup spot. I think he's perfect right there, and I think he's so far between last season and then obviously today proven himself to be that perfect setup guy. I don't know about Kinley.
A little wild.
How about his mustache, though?
It is a sweet mustache. He's got, yeah.
It's a 10 out of 10 mustache.
I mean,
yeah.
it's not that great. Pretty good.
Mustache guy.
But I mean, I'm still sticking with Bard. Like, he's my guy. Besides Chris Owing, he's my other guy. But yeah, I mean, I love Almonte in that setup spot. I don't know how I feel about Kinley. I think maybe might need some more time to maybe figure that out. I'm not sure. I don't know who else you would.
You
switch
still
him
have
out with.
Stevenson and Givens. I mean, that's the other thing, is that we could see those two as a tandem. It's just interesting that Buddy went with the guys that he knew best, right? They were with the team the longest. Almonte, of course, came up in 2019. Actually, I think he came up in 2018.
Right.
And Kinley was there at the beginning of last season. So those guys were around, trusted them a little bit more, so goes with them. But you could see a whole line change, and it could be Stevenson and Givens on another night.
Right. Yeah. I was wondering if we were going to see Givens. I know he had a bad spring. Carlos Estevez, we know he had a bad spring. Iro Diaz is no longer, with the major league team right now.
Being.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think there's a chance he comes back. That was a little bit surprising though. And we don't have time to get into this, but all the offseason stuff and then picking him up for like the $1.2 million and cutting David Dahl and all the things that they did to make sure he could stay. And now he's just gone in favor of Chacin, but. Whatever. I'm with you. I think he'll be back. I was a little surprised that, it was Kinley in the 8th. I'm with Mac. I feel much more comfortable with Yency Almonte right now, though I like what Kinley's got. You just know that he's going to have his bad days, and he's going to have that bad location
And
at times.
He could have been nervous. Like, opening day is a big day. Like, it was their first game with fans in over a year.
Yeah.
So, there could have been a lot of nerves playing into that,
Yeah.
which makes sense. It was the first game of the year. So I'm not out on him by any means. The ship hasn't sailed. But if I have someone to pick in the bullpen that I trust right now, it's Almonte by far.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some of it could just be due to the matchups. Like, Almonte got slightly more favorable. He had Taylor, Lux, and Barnes at the bottom of the lineup. Well, that lineup got turned over, and so that meant Kinley was against the top of the lineup with Betts, Seager, Turner, and that's where they ended up getting the run. So I think even if you were to flip it, you could have seen Almonte giving up a run there and Kinley having to score the 7th. So
sure. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think in general, the thing that surprised me the most was 2 innings for Chi-Chi, game 1 of the year, where you're like, you could go to anybody. Like, why not hand the ball to Givens or Stevenson or somebody there and see what they've got?
Was it a confidence booster thing where they're like, hey, we're trusting you. Here's the ball. Go do your thing.
Especially because he got an at-bat in the middle, right? And Patrick talked about he got his bunt down, but like...
I did think that was almost a little bit strange, to be honest. But I think, Michaela, you kind of hit the nail on the head that it was... more confidence in Chi-Chi to go 2 innings than for someone else to be able to go an inning, right? Or have someone, start the 5th inning and then Chi-Chi throws 2 innings, which is very abnormal. You don't see anything like that. So
well, and I know it might be too early to tell, but I was wondering too, the decision to leave Chi-Chi in for 2 innings, how much that is going to play, or how much that decision played into considering like their rotation management, because I mean they're technically down a rotation pitcher. So, if I don't think they're going to go with a 4-man rotation. Obviously, they brought in someone so that they could have a 5th option. But, if you're trying to preserve the arms of your rotation and you let, your bullpen go a little bit longer, maybe that has, I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not Bud Black, so I don't know what the decision
that is
was.
an interesting element, is that you're trying to keep, Marquez's pitch count was up really high. And again, you don't want that. Nice day. It's not one where you have to worry about wearing long sleeves, which we know has been a storyline for Germán Marquez in the past, but goes 4 innings, and with Monday being an off day, Marquez should be fresh to go on Tuesday, and then you'll see a 5th starter on Saturday in San Francisco. So, but you're right. I think that's an interesting storyline. We'll see, and hopefully you get some length out of Senzatella tomorrow against Trevor Bauer. Then. Is it Gomber on Saturday?
They're going to go Gray
John
and
Gray.
Gomber. Yeah.
Then Gomber,
Yeah. So, if you get some length out of those guys, and then it really is, it's almost like you're getting away with something when Chichi Gonzalez gets out there, finishes a couple of innings, and you're not down by the end of it, right? It's easy to critique, and I will say when they had runners at second and third, nobody out,
Right.
the Rockies had like just tied the game, and I thought this thing's getting away. I told Michaela there were 2 points where I thought the Rockies are going to lose this game, and Bellinger Muncy back to back against Chichi Gonzalez there. I thought with 2 guys on, I thought 3-run jack is coming for sure.
Yeah.
And he got Bellinger. I do think Muncy drove in a run on him with a single to right there. But Blackman threw out the guy at third. Another interesting decision. The Blackman went to third with that. I felt like he had about an equal shot at both of the guys. He saw something I didn't. He knew he could nail the runner at third. Trail runner, the run scored there, so you take it. But, yeah, beyond that, I just go.
Yeah, who had the Dodgers hitting 0 home runs?
Yeah.
I mean, despite one going over the fence, but 0 home runs.
Technicalities.
That one's going to get lost to history. Don't worry about it. 0
Yeah.
long
It's a
balls.
single, baby.
Kershaw giving up 6 runs.
5 earned.
Marquez giving up 6 walks. And, I mean, again, and Chris Owings kind of stealing the show in every shape or form. It's why you go to the ballpark every day, because you're going to see something new you haven't seen. It's just a great game. It's the best.
Yeah. Isn't it the best? Baseball's awesome.
Baseball's back, you guys. I'm so happy.
What would have been the takes from people that you've heard of that have gone to the game? Anything that they've learned, or they're just a general experience? They're just happy to be back in the ballpark. It seems like that's mainly been the pictures that I've seen, is just people just glad to be there, to be outside. It was a beautiful day. I mean,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't, you could have one of those days where the sun's out for a little bit, but shoot, it was fantastic. Allie, you've got your finger on the pulse, don't you?
I will be there tomorrow, so I'll let you know.
Have that report. Yeah, I mean, a gorgeous day out.
Oh,
The energy
beautiful.
was just.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've said this before. Like, baseball is America's pastime. And when you go through something that we all have collectively gone through this past year and a half now, you kind of need that. Like, I think it provides a very much a relief that we've all needed desperately. And, the weather was beautiful. We were out there together in masks. I think it was just very much a breath of fresh air. Like, we're all finally coming up for our air in a time that was all very, difficult for all of us. So, I was excited today for the game. I'm going to continue to be excited for the Rockies and for baseball all season long. I know there's some unhappy people out there still, but I just don't think you can be that way during this time right now, because today was so great. It really was just that breath of fresh air that we've all been really needing after such a long, crazy period of time.
Right. I never thought I would miss some of the just random things, like the video packages they play between innings of ball players falling on their face or running into the fence or getting hit in the nuts, and you're just like, hope that guy was manscaped. But also just listen to the whole crowd go, ooh, oh, ah, in between innings. It's just like, oh, man.
When Charlie stepped up to the plate for the first time and we got the tonight, I shed a tear,
right?
a full tear.
One
just
single tear.
out.
And you got to hear it in extra time because Story got picked off in the first.
That's true. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, bonus. A little bit of a remix there. We'll take it.
That was nice of Story to hook us up like that. That was appreciated.
It's very considerate.
But yeah, I mean, all of it. Even there was one guy behind home plate who was trying to start the wave when Chichi was out there trying to get out of his mess. And even that, I couldn't even.
I hate the wave.
I know.
I hate the wave. But
Same.
today I
think
was
we all
like,
do.
Woo! Just woo away,
It was a
fella.
good day for a wave.
Do
I
the
was pro wave today.
Do the thing. I was actually shocked. This is going to be a random observation, but by how many people, 20,570, I think that's what they announced, looked like. It looked more packed than I was expecting it to. And it's amazing to me
because there weren't any sections that were empty. I think that was why. So it just spread it out. My wife noticed that, where she thought that. I was like, hey, wow, it does not look like essentially 40%, right? It looked at 50% if you're looking close, but it seemed like there was a lot of people there.
Yeah. And it felt like that, and it for the big moments, and obviously you've got an opening day crowd, so their energy is it was 20,000 who felt like 40,000 because the energy was just so popping, hanging on to every pitch, every play. And for better or for worse, a lot of Dodgers fans there. And so even when the Dodgers were doing stuff, there was a lot of like that back and forth noise of the ball's hitting the air and everybody goes, oh, when it falls, or,
Man, Michaela, are you okay? You look like something was happening to one of your eyes. When Drew was talking about
I
the
think I was
Dodgers
telling this to
fans
Drew
there.
when we walked in the ballpark. If I never have to see Dodger blue again, it'll be too soon. I am over it already, and
Yeah.
the season just started.
say maybe 35% Dodgers fans today.
Really?
Yeah. They went home sad,
30,
though. So.
30 out of the 100% of the 42%.
Right. Of the people that were allowed in the building. Yeah. But hey, they went home sad. Colorado Rockies fans went home happy. They scored 8 runs. This is supposed to be the worst offense in all of baseball. They went out there against Clayton Kershaw, one of the best pitchers of the last decade, and they put it up. They did their thing without anything particularly special. I don't expect it. Sometimes the seeing eye singles get through. Sometimes they go right to the shortstop, and that's the game of baseball.
The ball and play, right?
Yeah.
That's what made the 2016 Kansas City Royals so successful. Not
That's right.
2015. Royals so successful. They just put the ball in play. They were fast. They were speedy. We got a glimpse of that today with the Rockies using their legs. They played small ball for a little bit. You can't really play small ball if you're scoring 8 runs in 8 innings. But nevertheless, you kind of get the idea that, if you're against an ace like Kershaw, you can get creative, scratch some things across home plate, get rid of those rounded numbers, and maybe something happens. And it did happen today for Colorado. It's a really great approach that makes me think that they can win maybe a couple more games that they maybe shouldn't over the course of this 162.
It's the formula for how you steal them. Whether or not they can live by that formula is what we're going to find out, right? So, final thoughts for the day. We're all feeling. Thanks, Josh, earlier for that shot.
Oh God!
If anyone else
My
wants to
throat's
throw one of
still
those
burning.
at the end of the,
Let's not make that a common occurrence.
Max Dunn, any of the rest of you who want to get us ridiculous there in the comments, feel free to make it rain. But final thoughts on this, one of the most glorious days of the calendar.
Baseball is back. There's no better sport in the world than the sport of baseball. I'm so happy that we are in for a long 162 games with the Colorado Rockies, for better or for worse. Let's do this. I'm going to be riding along with this team no matter what happens. We're in it. It started. Baseball season is here. The Rockies beat the Dodgers today. Okay, guys? That is something to be excited about. I was literally just about to say.
In front of the world.
In front of the world. Not only did they beat them, their first opening day win since 2017, but they did it on national television against the Dodgers. Let's go. It's baseball season, baby.
It was the perfect reminder of why we love the game of baseball, that despite losing maybe 80, 90, 100 games, there are those moments, there are those highlights of why we watch, why we love the sport, why we love the players that wear the laundry, that for some reason we follow and we're always just forced to be stuck with, for better or worse. But the players will go out and give us highlights and make us smile, regardless whether it's a win or a loss. They will make you smile. And today, it being a win was a great reminder that you're not going to have to wait until 2024 to smile again. Yeah. You can smile any day you can go to the ballpark.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway from today as well, Patrick, was just that, and I think I sent a tweet out to this effect, but essentially, like, everyone's mad at the Rockies as well they should be. Everyone's mad at the organization as well they should be. But, like, as I was just watching them do stuff, and I'm just looking at the box score, and I'm looking at who's coming in next and everything that's going on, I'm just like, every guy, every single one of them on this team is worth rooting for.
Absolutely.
Now, worth believing that they're going to be some superstar or do some amazing things and take your team to, that's a whole other thing. And I had a few people get back at me and be like, yeah, if you like rooting for a group of guys who, maybe don't even belong in the major leagues, you know what I do? I do like rooting for a group of guys who maybe, according to some people, don't belong in the major leagues. Because you know what they can do? Prove to you that they do belong in the major leagues. And while the Rockies aren't going to win a ton of games this year, probably, every moment of a guy like Chris Owings or Garrett Hampson laying down that bunt today, or Raimel Tapia doing his part, or Yency Almonte. Those are all wins in the Rockies book, in the Rockies fan book, in players that you get to root for and cheer for every single day that make the experience that much better. And we don't know where those players are going to end up. So let's find out together.
That's what we love
We
about
just got
baseball.
taken to church, man. Let's go.
That's what
We
we love
got
about
stuff.
baseball is every day you get a new opportunity, right?
Right.
Say, hey, go back out and get them tomorrow. And if they do end up, losing a lot of games, it doesn't matter because tomorrow they'll have another chance to prove themselves. And
That's
hopefully
what I'm
nobody
saying.
catches the fever.
Yeah, right.
I was thrown there.
I know. They're bringing out the catch the fever banners as well, but that's exactly right. Like, it's just, you don't know. And every day there's going to be something. As you mentioned, Charlie Blackmon was one of the only guys who really didn't contribute today. He will.
He did. He threw Corey Seager at third
You're
base,
right.
which was a great defensive play by Josh Fuentes. So he was even able to get in there and start out to an early lead in the Gold Glove conversation in right field.
Right.
Same for Josh Fuentes, 2 double plays in the first 2 innings. Now you're leading contender for third base Gold Glove, Josh Fuentes.
That's it. Chris Owings, I believe, is
every day.
That's right. Chris Owings is number 1 in the power rankings for NL MVP. Josh Fuentes is clearly getting that Gold Glove at the National League. Bring it, some guy for St. Louis, I think.
I said it once and I'll say it again. Who needs Josh Fuentes' cousin when you've got Chris Owings?
Take it to the bank. It really was a fun day. Thank you all so much. I know a lot of you've hung out with us during a very long, very cold, very difficult off season, especially for Rockies fans. So yes, we all know, look, we know it's one day. We're choosing to feel good today because baseball is back. Your Colorado Rockies. It was one of my bananas predictions for those of you that are subscribers and you read. Said at some point this season the Rockies they're gonna get those Dodgers, they're gonna get those Padres. These are the days you live for as a Rockies fan. To see them come out and hang up a 6th spot on Kershaw, the whole thing. So it just
was a thing of beauty, man.
was a thing of beauty. Opening day, it can't be beat. We really appreciate you all for spending your opening day with us. We're going to be here for 162 of these things this year, so make sure you are subscribed to the DNVR.com. Make sure you're following everybody on social media, on all the different social medias, at Drew Kreisman, at Patrick D. Lyons, at Michaela E. Perkins, at DNVR_Rockies. Follow a few other people in the Rockies community just for fun. Go on, find the at people, man. We got to hang out. We got to stick together. We got to do the thing because it's going to be a fascinating season and we're all going to share in it together. As I've said a couple of times, make sure you're subscribed to the DNVR.com so you don't miss out on any of the written content, plus discounts galore and the Holistic Stick Wellness. When you sign up for the annual, you get the free shirt as well. You can pick up that Walker Hall of Fame shirt Patrick's sporting there. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you're missing out on all the visuals, especially now that the season's started. We're going to be down here at the studio doing all kinds of stuff. Like we said, just day 1. We'll be back at it tomorrow, the day after that. We appreciate all of you for being absolutely awesome out there. We promise that we will continue to be absolutely Patrick Lyons, Michaela Perkins, Ali Monroy behind the scenes, and Drew Kreisman in here. And until next time, we will see you at the ballpark.